Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. And of course, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. What we're getting into, Eagles Rookie Minicamp winners and losers, members of this Eagles draft class, UDFAs, other players on a tryout basis, making their way to South Philadelphia to the NovaCare complex for a couple of practice sessions with this football team. And so, who won the weekend? Who lost the weekend? We're going to get into all of that here coming up over the next several minutes. And I'll tell you this, blue skies, nice weather, Eagles football being back, how great is all of that? If that gets you stoked and excited for the Birds to defend their Super Bowl victory, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video right now. So, a lot of interesting things that I want to talk about here. And I want to start off glass half full. And of course, it's rookie minicamp, right? So we're not going to have a lot of losers here on the program today because it's kind of hard to lose rookie minicamp. But with my takeaways, with the analysis that we're going to pass along, there are, of course, some positive takeaways for a lot of these young players. And that includes quarterback Kyle McCord, who the Eagles took in the 6th round out of Syracuse. Obviously, we know the story by now. He's from South Jersey. He went to high school and played his high school ball at St. Joe's Prep, where he was a legend, one of the top players in the country. A lot of recruiting services had him as a 4- or 5-star player. Started off his college career at Ohio State. And then he suffered from a lack of confidence there. The Buckeyes kind of wanted to replace him. They brought in Will Howard, a guy from Downingtown, so another local cat. And so Kyle McCord goes to Syracuse, and this past year, under Fran Brown, who I really like, part of the Matt Rule coaching tree, used to be an assistant at Temple. I wish Temple would have hired him several years ago. McCord balled out. And why McCord is a winner for me, only quarterback at rookie minicamp. So he got a lot of reps and very valuable reps. And it's not to say he's raw or anything, but he's a young player, probably going to be competing with DTR to be the 3rd-string quarterback. And for him to get as many reps as possible right after the draft process to kind of streamline his professional development, I think that's a big positive for him. Got to drive to the NovaCare complex from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, so that was a short drive for him as he grew up going to games, rooting on Donovan McNabb. And he also got to reunite with current Eagles quarterbacks coach, Scott Loeffler, who used to be the head coach last year at Bowling Green State. Cool fact, when Loeffler was working for Boston College, he actually gave Kyle McCord his first big-time college offer while McCord was transitioning from 8th grade to being a freshman in high school. So before taking a high school snap, Kyle McCord had an offer from Boston College from Scott Loeffler, who is now on this Eagles coaching staff in replacing Doug Nussmeier. Pretty cool story right there. And I like McCord as a player. In the pre-draft process, in a light quarterback class, he was one of my favorite prospects. He processes pre-snap really well, knows where to go with the football. Pretty good decision maker, although sometimes he can be a little bit overly aggressive because he does have that gunslinger mentality. I do like having that. Sometimes you need to measure it a little bit. I think he anticipates really well, has good arm strength where he can complete balls at all 3 levels vertically, but then from sideline to sideline, he's not going to make plays out of structure, and he's not going to wow you with his ability to pick up yards with his feet. But what he does possess is a good pocket feel and good pocket mobility, where if the pocket starts to collapse, McCord can step up in the pocket to buy some time to deliver the football. Nobody will ever question his toughness. And I like his size to go alongside that. 6'3", 218 pounds in college. He was a winner. Won a lot at Ohio State, then helped to turn around the Syracuse program this past year. Will Scott, who used to work here at Chat Sports, Syracuse alum, he didn't want McCord to go to the NFL. He wishes that McCord had another year of college eligibility because that Syracuse program fell in love with the person, the personality, the leadership, and of course the player. And then last year, McCord was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football. He led the nation in completions and attempts and led the nation in passing yards with nearly 4,800. McCord rocking the number 19, our first winner on today's show. Rookie minicamp winner number 2, wide receiver Darius Cooper. Now, I'm recording this show on Monday, May 5th. Earlier today, we talked a little bit about Darius Cooper. He was not originally a part of the initial Eagles undrafted free agency signings. And then the Eagles added him to the 90-man roster, and he's a really intriguing player who I wasn't completely surprised that he went undrafted, but as a UDFA, there's a lot to like. Really excels with slants, go routes, and contested catches. Uses his size and physicality to go up and get it. He ran a 4.49 40-yard dash. And some people in the comment section were saying, that's not that fast. 4.49 at 213 pounds, that's really good speed. He's also very strong. 18 reps of 225 pounds on the bench press. And he was the best FCS wide receiver last year for Tarleton State. 76 grabs, more than 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, ended the year on a heater. 100-plus receiving yards in 7 of 8 games. And the size component to Cooper, very similar to A.J. Brown outside of the height. When A.J. Brown was coming out of Ole Miss, he was 6'4", 220-plus, 19 reps on the bench, 36-inch vertical, 4.49 40-yard dash, 10-foot broad jump. Darius Cooper pre-draft. The relative athletic score, very similar, just under AJ at 8.58. He's 5'11", but 213 pounds, 18 reps on the bench press, so one less. He had a 38-inch vertical, that's higher than AJ, a 10.6 broad, that is longer than AJ Brown, and an identical 4.49 40-yard dash. When you see Cooper, either with pads or without pads, stacked athlete, pretty jacked dude, good footwork, looking refined at Eagles Rookie Minicamp. And a lot of people were impressed with what he was able to do in those practice sessions. Rookie Minicamp winner number 3, offensive lineman Drew Kendall, who you see here to my right, getting a good stretch in. Always good to stretch out that core, the groin area as well. Yeah, I know a little bit about that. I'm into fitness. But for Drew Kendall, look, we're not sure what position he's going to play for the Eagles. Probably backup center behind Cam Jurgens to start. He can play guard as well. Did not play any guard while at Boston College and had more than 30 starts at the center position. But he actually, prior to college, had only played guard before that. And he grew up idolizing Jason Kelce, who said really transformed the center position. Here's what Kendall said about Kelce. In my lifetime, Kelce is probably the most influential center there's been in the National Football League. What he did in Philly was incredible. Just such a great player and such a great guy. Just watching him on film, watching him in press conferences, he's just a stand-up guy. He's definitely changed the game. I love the way he pulled on blocks, got out in space, and really attacked the second level. He got on the second level really fast and really stressed the linebackers. So I thought that was really good, and that really made the run game go. So that was a really special thing that he did. Funny moment, too, when he was having his press conference. People were like, can you pull block like Jason Kelce? He said, yeah, I'm getting there. But why Kendall, in my eyes, is a winner, I think he has an opportunity to be the backup center behind Cam Jurgens. He can fill in for interior offensive line depth. He's playing where Jason Kelce became a legend, and who helped to turn Jason Kelce into a future Hall of Famer and into a star? Jeff Stoutland, who Drew Kendall will be developed by. He can become a really good player thanks to Kelce's influence, and Kelce's always around the practice facility and the organization, and getting coached up by Jeff Stoutland. And at Boston College, really impressive player, all ACC in 2024, and he has the NFL bloodlines. Howie Roseman has talked about how this type of stuff, it matters. Kendall's dad, an NFL offensive tackle for 13 years in the NFL. Elliott Shore-Parks sharing this tweet on X. Eagles rookie center guard Drew Kendall says he handled all the pass protection pre-snap responsibilities at Boston College. That's, of course, notable. Kelsey did that really for much of his Eagles tenure. And then more from ESP, Kendall says he played guard in high school, had to learn center in college. So it sounds like he's going to take reps at both. Offensive line versatility, it always gives you a greater chance of making the team. Rookie minicamp winner number 4 and number 5. Running back Shunderick Powell out of Central Arkansas, who you can see here to my right, and running back Montrell Johnson. Because on top of the Eagles adding Cooper as an undrafted free agent, the Eagles also signed wide receiver Giles Jackson, return man, smaller wide receiver, spent time at Michigan and Washington, 5 or 6 year college player. He'll compete with Avery Williams to be the main return man, I would imagine, for this Eagles team. And then the corresponding roster move, the Eagles actually waived running back Ty Davis-Price, former third-round pick out of LSU. And so Powell and Montrell Johnson, who you see here, who went to Florida, as we're about to show you that photo, I think the Eagles released TDP. They, of course, love Saquon Barkley. That's why they gave him that historic deal. Will Shipley, I think, is going to be RB2. He has some giddy up. He could catch the ball out of the backfield. He could be a dynamic weapon. The Eagles added A.J. Dillon. He's coming off that neck injury, but you like this skill set. Physical back who can help you in short yardage. Outside of that, though, those are the 3 set-in-stone running backs. If the Eagles want 4 RBs on the 53, there's a chance for one of these UDFAs to crack the roster. If not, it's not a bad spot to be in if you're on this practice squad on a team that is absolutely loaded. And so I think the Eagles want to get an extended look at 2 of these rookie UDFA running backs. And for Powell at Central Arkansas, his play style at his size will remind you of a Darren Sproles, a Dion Lewis. He's 5'8". And his relative athletic score, 7.46. Last 3 years in college, we just showed you those numbers, more than 1,000 yards in each of those seasons. He was a touchdown machine, and he has skills with being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. For Montrell Johnson, started at Louisiana, then he went to Florida. And prior to him being injured a little bit in 2024, 3 straight years of 800-plus rushing yards, more than 5 yards per carry in each of those seasons, and he was able to find the end zone a little bit. He is an old-school run-you-over, leave tread marks on your back type of running back. Shunderick Powell and Johnson, 2 players to look out for to potentially be sneaky guys to crack this Eagles roster, maybe even the practice squad at the very least. Another rookie minicamp winner is another 6th-round pick, offensive tackle Myles Hinton. And I like how he did in this draft. Eagles had the best offensive line in football last year, and he still added offensive line depth, which is something that I thought the Eagles needed to do, drafting 3 more offensive linemen. And for Hinton, solid athlete, paired with the high football IQ, brother played in the NFL, dad played in the NFL, more NFL bloodlines. And Hinton offers the traits that you want. He just needs to finish a little bit more often, needs to play a little bit more aggressive. At times he can play tall. Hand placement is often too low. If you watch that video over the weekend of basically the Eagles as an organization, their video crew documenting the war room and what it's like to spend a draft with Howie Roseman, this entire scouting, coaching staff, and owner Jeffrey Lurie, when day 3 came around, Howie's like, this is how you build a football team, because you can add a lot of really important pieces to your club. And he went around the room to all of his different scouts, and he said, what guys do you like at specific positions? Myles Hinton's name came up because he has all of the traits that you look for in an offensive lineman, and Jeff Stoutland was very excited about that draft selection. So Myles Hinton off to a good start. Elliott Shore-Parks also sharing this, that Hinton seems like a star. Very impressed with his media availability. Obviously, being well-spoken, well thought out, it's not everything. If you can't play, you can't play. But the size is certainly there. The athleticism is certainly there. And we've seen the glimpses of really good play from Hinton at Stanford, at Michigan, while also having some lapses where if you could tap into that, maximize that type of player, he can end up being a dog. Smael Mondon, linebacker out of Georgia, who the Eagles took in this draft, is also a winner here. gets to team back up with a lot of his Georgia teammates. I think right from the jump, he's going to be a special teams ace for Philadelphia. And people were saying, man, he really looks the part as an athlete. A little bit slender, but long, had really good moments while at Georgia, good leader for that defense. He really has good sideline-to-sideline speed, too, 4.5 type speed. Here's what Mondon said about the Philly Bulldogs. Nakobe is like my big brother. I came to Georgia as a freshman, and then to see Nakobe win the Buckus Award, I've been looking up to him for many years now. So to get here and have him still leading me and guiding the way, it's been a blessing. When I got drafted, Nakobe was the first person I called. Talking to Nakobe, talking to Nolan Smith, talking to Jalen Carter, talking to all of them. They're just really telling me how everything is and making me feel comfortable. I think that is an underrated element in the grand scheme of things, right? Understanding what the transition is going to be like, what it's going to feel like, what you have to do to get acclimated going from college to NFL football. So Smael Mondon, one of our winners here on today's show. Who is your biggest rookie minicamp winner? Drop me a name or even a couple of names down in the comment section right now, and we'll get to our losers coming up just around the corner. But if you want an Eagles jersey, you can get yours today at chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. Producer Reed, who's stepping in for Chip today, he just got a Saquon Barkley jersey with the Super Bowl patch. You can get yours and be like Reed, be like myself, and just support the Eagles. Chatsports.com/Eagles jerseys, all types of sizes available, men, women's, kids jerseys, old school throwbacks, new style jerseys. You can get Jihaad Campbell. You can get some of the Eagles OGs, some of the stars on this roster. We'll put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's show. And you use that link down below, Fanatics will know that Chat Sports, Chase Sr., and Eagles Now sent you. All right. Eagles Rookie Minicamp losers. And you saw me throw up the air quotes there. It's hard to criticize rookies at Rookie Minicamp unless they absolutely suck. In the case of Jihaad Campbell, this was an A-plus pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. I absolutely love the player, who he was at Alabama, who he could become for the Eagles. There's a reason why the Eagles had him as a top 10 player on their board. There's a reason why Vic Fangio looked the happiest that we've ever seen him once Howie informed him in that aforementioned video that the Eagles were taking Jihaad Campbell. He can play edge. He can play off-ball linebacker. He plays a little bit like Zach Bond. He has the measurables to be an edge rusher in this league, but the athleticism and the football IQ to thrive as an off-ball linebacker. I said it right when the Eagles drafted him. He can be a chess piece for Vic Fangio. But not being able to partake in rookie minicamp, it dampens the hype a little bit. And there are some injury concerns around Campbell. Had a labrum repair in his shoulder quite recently during the pre-draft process, and so he's not practicing really for a little while. I doubt that he's going to be on hand and practicing for OTAs. Mandatory minicamp, I would say he could miss that as well. Did not partake in these rookie minicamp practices, and when you're a young player, and you can't be on the field practicing, starting to learn the playbook, getting acclimated with the speed and physicality of the NFL game, you're behind the curve a little bit. And Howie Roseman has said some interesting things in tempering expectations for the first-round pick. He doesn't want people to get too overly concerned or start sounding the alarm bells. He's like, hey, we took this player, has the shoulder issue, might take him a little bit, and if he doesn't practice in training camp, that's, of course, a bummer, too, because I think the Eagles may have taken him hoping that he might be ready to contribute as a rookie, and the Eagles might need him to contribute at some point as a rookie. But remember, Cooper DeJean missed all of training camp last year after he was drafted. He was getting ready for training camp. He hurt his hamstring, and then he came back to play for the third preseason game, played in that preseason finale, and then wasn't really a part of the Eagles' defensive plans the first month of the season. Then they had that bye week. They come out of the bye week. DeJean starts against the Cleveland Browns. From that point on, he was huge for Vic Fangio and the Eagles defense. They became the #1 overall defense in the sport. DeJean played a big role in that. And, of course, in the Super Bowl, had that legendary pick 6 of Patrick Mahomes. So it's not a negative jump off the ship, abandoned ship type of ordeal for Jihaad Campbell being a rookie minicamp loser. You would just like to see him healthy, not have to worry about the injury concerns, and starting to understand the feel and the process of what it's like to be a pro, practicing with his teammates. He does need to work on instincts a little bit, getting that natural feel for playing off-ball linebacker if the Eagles decide to use him there, because he has struggled with that at times. He can cover, but he struggled with instincts at times because he was recruited as an edge rusher. So I'm going to list him as a loser for those reasons. Some people were talking about second-round pick Andrew Mukuba, Texas safety, Clemson transfer, as looking small in person. He said he doesn't care. He plays bigger than that. And I'll tell you this, Andrew Mukuba does play a lot bigger than being under 190 pounds. I have compared his game to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I said that right after the Eagles took him. A lot of people have said that since then as well. They play similar in that way. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, though, was a lot bigger coming out of Florida compared to Mukuba coming out of Texas. But they're not afraid to make plays against the run, throw their body around, play bigger than their size, play with physicality, play with fire, play with heart, be loud on the field, display leadership qualities, make plays very instinctually in the pass game. Mukuba had the lowest passer rating when targeted among all safeties in college football last year. He was a pass breakup and interception machine. Like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, also has a high football IQ, can react very quickly in coverage, has a really good feel for what's happening. And I love the physicality that he's going to bring to this Eagles team. And then just the thought of him being a ball hawk, Reed Blankenship being a ball hawk, they, as a safety tandem, could generate a lot of interceptions on that back end. So Mukuba, some people knock him for that size. He says he plays bigger than it. McWilliams, a cornerback who I think is going to help replace Avonte Maddox as far as being a depth piece in the slot, is also a little small. But Mukuba's a 4'4" guy. McWilliams is a 4'4" guy as well. And McWilliams, in talking about his size concerns, said, I just play as though I'm the biggest guy out there. That's my approach. Other notes, Ty Robinson, very broad shoulders, but shorter arms. We know that he's a physical freak. People call him the vanilla gorilla for a reason. I think that he can end up being one of the steals for the Eagles. Brings a lot of physicality to the table and can play nasty from defensive tackle or even defensive end in Vic Fangio's scheme. Smael Mondon, jacked. Could be a special teams ace. I also thought this was pretty interesting. The Eagles rookie minicamp first-string offensive line, Myles Hinton at left tackle, the Aussie Laken Vakalahi, who the Eagles added as a tackle last year, slides into guard, Drew Kendall at center, that's where his experience was at Boston College, Holland Pierce, a UDFA offensive tackle from Rutgers, was at right guard, and then Cameron Williams at right tackle. I think Pierce and Williams can both play tackle, but they can also both play guard. Producer Reed sat next to Cameron Williams on his flight back to Philly as Williams was going to Philly for rookie minicamp. He said he's a huge dude. And anytime anybody tried to walk down the aisle, they had to go around Cameron Williams. Hopefully edge rushers have to go around and get stopped in their tracks by Cameron Williams. He also said, too, when he addressed the media, he thought he was going to be like a second or third round pick. Got picked in the 6th by the Eagles. I think if he would have returned to Texas because he's young and inexperienced and he played well, he could have been a first-round selection in the 2026 NFL Draft. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go, Birds. You know the deal. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll catch you tomorrow.